On the edge of the world where sky meets sea, a man stands alone against the fury of nature. The storm rages around him, yet his posture speaks not of fear but of invitation. He does not fight the wind that whips his simple garments, nor does he turn away from the salt spray that stings his weathered face. This is not recklessness, but understanding. For he knows that only by facing what we fear can we discover our true strength. In his hands rests the wisdom of ages, carved in stone by those who understood that true power comes not from avoiding hardship, but from embracing it. The ancient words speak of acceptance, of finding peace in chaos, of transforming pain into purpose. Each letter tells a story of men and women who faced their limitations not as chains but as stepping stones. He reads not to escape his circumstances, but to understand them. While the world around him tears itself apart, he finds his center. The lightning may flash, the thunder may roar, but within his chest beats a heart that has learned the rhythm of acceptance. This is not passive resignation, but active engagement with reality as it is, not as he wishes it to be. The ancients knew this secret well, understanding that peace comes not from controlling the storm, but from becoming the eye at its center. What others see as brokenness, he recognizes as wholeness revealed in new form. The mirror that once showed only one reflection now shows many, each fragment capturing a different aspect of truth. Like his own life, shattered by circumstances beyond his control, yet each piece still reflects the same essential self. The cracks do not diminish his image, they reveal its complexity. In brokenness, he finds completeness. Each step he takes is a declaration of independence from fear. The path before him offers no guardrails, no safety nets, only the certainty of a long fall should he lose his footing. Yet his bare feet know this stone intimately, having walked it many times before. The ancients built this way not for the faint of heart, but for those who understand that the most profound truths lie at the edge of comfort. He becomes the axis upon which the storm turns, the still point in the center of chaos. The lightning does not strike him, not because he is protected, but because he has become part of the electrical dance itself. The rain washes over him like an old friend, cleansing away the dust of yesterday's concerns. In this moment, he is not separate from the forces of nature but intimately connected to them, understanding that all apparent opposites are merely different expressions of the same universal energy. Among the remnants of past wisdom, he finds the seeds of present understanding. These broken statues once represented men who faced their own storms, their own limitations, their own mortality. Now they serve as silent teachers, showing him that even the mightiest creations eventually return to dust, yet the ideas they embodied live on. In the quiet space between breaths, he hears the voices of those who learned to transform weakness into wisdom, fear into courage. In that moment of awakening, he sees clearly what others spend lifetimes trying to understand. The eyes that open are not the same eyes that closed moments before. They have witnessed the dance between chaos and order, between destruction and creation, between what is and what could be. The storm outside mirrors the storm within, and he realizes they are not enemies to be conquered but teachers to be embraced. Before him lies the choice that every soul must make, to remain safely on the familiar shore or to leap into the unknown depths below. The chasm is not a barrier but a threshold, not an ending but a beginning. The inscriptions on the walls speak of those who made this leap before him, finding that what appeared to be an abyss was actually a bridge to something greater. His spread arms embrace not just the wind, but the infinite possibilities that await those brave enough to surrender to the journey. In the space between leaving the old world behind and embracing the new, he finds perfect freedom. This is not a fall but a flight, not an escape but an arrival. The lightning that once seemed threatening now celebrates his transformation, illuminating the path forward with electric clarity. The symbols on the walls tell the stories of all who have made this journey before him, their wisdom now flowing through him as he surrenders completely to the experience. What appeared to be an ending reveals itself to be a beginning, what seemed like a descent becomes an ascent. The hidden lagoon represents the peace that comes from accepting life's challenges rather than fighting them. Here, in this secret place, he finds that the very act of surrender has opened doors he never knew existed. The water supports him effortlessly, the light nourishes him completely, and the beauty around him reflects the beauty he has discovered within himself. In this moment of perfect stillness, he understands that the journey was never about reaching a destination but about becoming the kind of person who could appreciate the beauty along the way. The texts that once seemed dry and academic now live and breathe in the water around him, their wisdom flowing like the gentle waves. He has not conquered the storm but become intimate friends with it, learning that true strength lies not in resistance but in harmony. The transformation is complete, yet it is not a transformation at all. He is the same person who stood fearfully at the cliff's edge, yet everything has changed because his relationship with reality has shifted. The cave that once seemed dark and threatening now glows with welcoming light, its entrance a gateway to deeper understanding. He carries within him the power to illuminate any darkness, not through force but through the simple act of accepting what is and finding the gifts hidden within every challenge. The final lesson is not about acquiring wisdom but about releasing the need to control it. Like the tablet that sinks gracefully into the depths, he has learned to let go of his desperate clinging to certainty and security. The word carved in stone dissolves into the water, yet its meaning becomes more real than ever. The fish that gather around it show that truth feeds life when it is freely given rather than desperately hoarded. The path of wisdom is not a straight line but a spiral that returns to familiar places transformed by new understanding. The beach that seemed impossible to cross at the beginning of his journey now welcomes him like an old friend. Each footprint that disappears reminds him that the past is not something to carry but something to release. The ocean that once threatened him now sings him lullabies of eternal peace, its surface reflecting not his fears but his true nature. The ascent is effortless now, not because the path has become easier but because he has learned to walk it with the rhythm of acceptance. Each wildflower that blooms along the way is a reminder that beauty emerges from the same soil that produces thorns. The temple at the summit is not a destination but a symbol of the wisdom that dwells within every moment of the journey. He climbs not to reach the top but to celebrate the climbing itself. The solitary journey has led him back to community, not as a teacher who stands above but as a fellow traveler who walks beside. The temple that once seemed distant and unattainable now houses the simple truth that wisdom is not a possession but a relationship shared between souls who have learned to embrace their limitations as gifts. His words flow like water, nourishing the hearts of those who listen, because they come not from intellectual understanding but from the deep well of lived experience. The smile that spreads across his face is not the smile of one who has never suffered but of one who has learned to transform suffering into wisdom. His eyes have seen the depths of despair and the heights of joy, understanding that both are necessary teachers on the path to authentic peace. The marks of his journey tell the story of a soul that has been tested and found worthy, not because he avoided the storm but because he learned to dance in the rain. From this vantage point, he can see the entire journey laid out like a map, each location a chapter in the story of transformation. The cliffs that once seemed so threatening now appear as gentle guardians of hidden treasures. The lagoon that offered such peace is revealed as just one stop along an endless path of discovery. The setting sun reminds him that every ending is also a beginning, every completion a new commencement. The journey continues, as all true journeys must. He carries with him not possessions but perspectives, not answers but the wisdom to ask better questions. The temple behind him is not a place to return to but a state of being to cultivate wherever life may lead. Each step forward is an affirmation of the truth that growth comes not from staying in safe places but from venturing courageously into the unknown with the understanding that every challenge is an opportunity in disguise. At the crossroads of possibility, he understands that the right path is not the one that avoids difficulty but the one that leads toward growth. The mist that obscures the destinations reminds him that the journey itself is the destination, the process more important than the product. Each path offers its own lessons, its own challenges, its own opportunities for transformation. His trust in the unfolding of life allows him to choose without fear, knowing that every road leads home to the wisdom he has already discovered within himself. The first step onto the new path is always the most important, yet it requires no more courage than any other step. His feet know the way because they have walked it many times before in different forms. The flowers that spring back to life beneath his tread show that true wisdom does not destroy but nurtures, does not take but gives. The stones that form his path are the same ones he stumbled over in the beginning, now perfectly fitted to support his journey forward. The forest of wisdom offers its gifts freely to those who know how to receive them. Each fruit represents a lesson learned and integrated, a truth that has moved from intellectual understanding to lived experience. The apples of courage taste sweet because they are earned through facing fear, the pears of patience are rich because they are ripened by time, the grapes of acceptance are intoxicating because they free the spirit from the prison of resistance. He eats not to satisfy hunger but to nourish the soul. In the vastness of the plain, he finds his true size, neither inflated by ego nor diminished by false humility. The endless horizon reminds him that wisdom is not a destination but a direction, not a possession but a practice. The setting sun that paints the sky in impossible colors shows him that beauty exists not despite impermanence but because of it. His celebration is not for himself but for the privilege of being part of the grand symphony of existence, playing his small but essential part with perfect timing. The story ends where it began, with a single figure walking alone toward an uncertain future. Yet everything has changed because he has learned that uncertainty is not the enemy of peace but its foundation. The golden thread that connects his journey shows that wisdom is not a straight line but a spiral that returns to familiar places with new understanding. His footsteps light the way for others, proving that the greatest gift we can give the world is not our achievements but our example of how to transform limitation into liberation, weakness into wisdom, and fear into the courage to embrace whatever life may bring.